All right, happy Thursday. It's always good to stop, show up in the moment. I brought a copy with me of something called The Transmission of the Light. It's one of the koan collections in our curriculum. And it's by Zen Master Keizan. He was born in 1268, which is about 15 years after the very famous Zen Master Dogen passed away. And it is the record of the enlightenment experiences of all of the Zen teachers from the Buddha, and then it goes all the way through Dogen, and then to Eijo, who's Dogen's successor. So it'd be like me writing a book about all of the enlightenment experiences from my teacher all the way back to the Buddha. Although obviously in the 1200s there was a few less successors. But the koan I want to look at today is from priest Liang Shan. The 42nd patriarch was priest Liang Shan. He studied with Tonggon, the latter, and served him. Tonggon asked him, "What is the business beneath the patch robe?" The master had no answer. Tonggon said, "Studying the Buddha way and still not reaching this realm is the most painful thing. Now you ask me." The master asked, "What is the business beneath the patch robe?" Tonggon said, "Intimacy." And the master was greatly awakened. One of the things I love about the transmission of the light is that, like, if we go to the next case, Liang Shan is going to be the teacher. Right? So in this case, he's with Tonggon. Tonggon is his teacher. If you go back one, Tonggon is the student. Right? And it goes on like that for all of them. And so it's interesting because the student is being called the master because in the next case he will be the master. Right? There is no separation between student and teacher. Right? Dharma passes mind to mind from the Buddha down through the ages to here. What is the business beneath the patch robe, right? This is the patch robe. Right? You can see the patches. When I wear my big kesa, right? If you actually look at it closely, you'll see that it's made of many patches. We're in the business of intimacy. That's a loaded word in our culture, right? What kind of intimacy are we talking about? What does intimacy even mean, right? It means closeness, it means connection, it means not separate from. It has nothing to do with sex. I mean, sexual intimacy is a thing, but that's not what these masters are talking about. So the business of enlightenment is the business of being close to what is. You'll really know how your practice is doing if you can suddenly and unexpectedly go in another direction and be of benefit to others when you weren't counting on having to do that, right? Like, oh, something appeared I didn't expect, and then you are of service, right? If you can do that without resistance, right? Or if you can tolerate disappointment without collapse. Thought something was going to happen and then quite suddenly it didn't. Doesn't mean don't have feelings, but can you pivot? Are you free to go, oh, all right. I thought I was going to have this meeting, but now I'm going to have that meeting. I thought I was going to get this grade, but then I got that grade. I thought I was going to get this promotion, but then I didn't. Or I thought I was going to get the promotion and I did, and I thought it was going to make everything better and it didn't. Very frequently we create separation between ourselves and others with our expectations of how they should be. Right? Expectation is the opposite of intimacy. Right? you say to someone says to you, I expect you to get me a nice Christmas present this year. What happens to your desire to buy them a present? Gone, right? Now you don't want to. If you're walking around with a heavy expectation of what you deserve to be given and then you don't get it, you're going to feel distressed. My wife has a great story. I guess it would have been 2014, 13, yeah. 2013, I took her to Virginia Beach, and my intent was to propose. And so, I got a hotel, and some of her family is from that area, and I was born in Virginia Beach, so it felt like a, good time, good place to do it. And I made sure that the morning before I proposed, I got her a manicure because I knew she'd be taking pictures of her hands and sharing them on social media, and so I wanted her to have that. And I scheduled for us to go to a nerdy Comic-Con kind of convention for part of the time because she and I both really enjoy that type of thing. And so she said, the whole time I thought, he's probably going to propose. But I had to put that thought out of my mind because if you didn't, I didn't want to be like, that stupid bastard, he took me to the beach and to one of my favorite activities and got me a manicure, right? Right? You see how attachment, anticipation, right, can poison things. And it all worked out because it did in fact propose, and here we are, still married all this time later. But that's the danger of attachment. That's the danger of being stuck with our fixed expectations. I said this to someone else today, but I had never said it before, and I like it, so I'm going to say it again so everybody hears it. Non-attachment is not being like, oh, I'm not attached to anything. I don't care what happens. Non-attachment is like the recognition of the true state of human existence, which is that we're on a river and we're flowing down the river. Attachment is I'm clinging onto the dock, right? I'm clawing at the shore. I'm trying to stop the river. I'm trying to make the river go the way, I'm like out there with a shovel. I try to dig the river to go where I want it to go. But that's not what it's like to be in a river. I grew up spending a lot of time in the James River, actually, and one of the things I learned is that if you try to walk against the current, that you will fall down and get swept away. If you do get swept away, you should aim your feet at the rocks. And I remember having grown up literally playing in the water in the James River, I could walk through the water and not fall. And I took a college buddy to the river. I was all excited to show him the river where I grew up, and he took one step into the water and gone. But that's sort of the move, right? When you walk in the river, you kind of have to work with the current. So non-attachment is flowing down the river, and the river has all kinds of weather, right? It has rapids, it has calm places, it has birds and fish and trees, and it has waterfalls and danger. It has all the things, right? Human life has all these things. Non-attachment is the recognition that, and that's intimacy, right? I'm intimate with the nature of things. It's the recognition that all of this exists. I'm already flowing down the river. Can't not flow down the river. Now, it doesn't mean we don't build a boat. It doesn't mean we don't have goals. It doesn't mean we don't sometimes paddle over to the side, take a rest. Can you really be intimate with the people in front of you, right? Or are you like creating your response as they're talking, right? Making sure all of your argument points are ready to go. There's I have a couple of coworkers who are very well trained in a methodology called dialogue, and there's a couple of like core phrases that are used when people are trying to discuss issues that have multiple viewpoints. And one of them is, I follow that, and another is, I have an oppose, right? And I love that phrase, I have an oppose, like I'm going to disagree with you now, but it's not that you're wrong, it's that I have an oppose. Right? So now, what are we saying? We're saying something's coming up for me that is not aligned with what you're saying, which is very different than saying, you're wrong, you're an idiot. How dare you say that? Don't you know blah, blah, blah? What is the business of this patchwork robe? Right? What is the business of the patchwork robe? It's to show up right here. And to pay attention to what is going on inside when you show up right here. Right? Try not to run on the old tapes. Right? Try to run on autopilot. Try to really be right here. Really listen to the people you meet. Really be in the presence of others. That's how we are of benefit. The reason, like the patchwork robe is not something that we take on lightly. The vows of the Bodhisattva are pretty intense. Save all beings and desires, master all the dharmas, and accomplish the Buddha way. All endless, infinite projects. But what a gift. Because if it has no end, then we can keep on awakening. Moment by moment, interaction by interaction, situation by situation. We can keep saving beings. We can keep mastering dharmas. We can keep accomplishing the Buddha way. We can keep letting go of desires. We do all those things every day. That's why we keep going. That's why we keep practicing. For now, my job is to encourage you to practice, and your job is to practice. You keep doing that, eventually your job will be to encourage others to practice. That's the business. Intimacy. Just this. Just what's right here. Okay. Questions?